Alright guys, so today what we're going to do is going to change out our steering pump for our 2007 Acura TL. When things go wrong, we try and fix them ourselves. It's a nice, chilly, beautiful day here in Jersey. First day of November. So let's get started. So these are some of the tools that we're going to need. So I got my new steering pump. We got our gloves, our ratchets, our sockets. So it's not too much that you need. Gonna need a 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, and a 14 for the tensioner pulley. So first we're going to take off these two covers. That way we can work a little bit better. There we go, pop right off. Alrighty. So this is the general area we're going to be working in. This is your tensioner pulley down here. Here's your power steering pump with your hoses. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to take this off. This little plastic piece here. Use our crimps. Pull this off. We're going to put some shop rags and stuff down there so we don't get stuff everywhere. And the same thing with this. We're going to have some shop rags ready. And then we're going to move on from there. Alright, so here's our pliers. Alright, so we're going to use our pliers here. Just going to loosen this. Just drag it back a little bit. Belt actually still looks good. I mean, the hose actually still looks good. So, and by the way, the reason we're changing all of this out is there is a harsh screeching sound. And the fact that it is a 2007, and I have the financial ability, I'm actually just going to change it out just to make life easy. And just move on from there instead of just changing an O-ring and then it breaks later and all kind of other things. So I'm just going to change it out. Alright, let's get these down up in there. Down up in there, it's like an oxymoron. Alright. Make sure we get it up the side here. Okay. We're going to be able to catch all of this. Alright, so we're going to pull this up and then we're going to use these grips here to keep it up out of the way so that it doesn't leak out. All right, that wasn't so bad. Meant to take a look at our pump fluid, and yeah, definitely air in there. So, all right. So, just gonna clean that off, and then we're gonna use our grips. Hold it up and out of the way. Wants to work for me. There you go. However you can do it. Just clean this off a little bit here. Alright. Now we're just gonna stick that in there. Like that. Just as a precaution. All right, looking good. Looking good. Okay. All right. So now that we have that off, what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up this belt with the tensioner pulley down there. So we're going to attempt this with a 14 millimeter wherever I put it. All right, there you go. Fits on nice and snug. And what we're going to do is we're going to push forward to loosen the tension, and then just take this belt off, and then we're just going to kind of hide it here out of the way so that we're not taking it off of the rest of the pulley system. finally got that up and out of the way. Definitely had to try and squeeze this through there, which was a pain in the ass. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these 10mm bolts off here. And once again, just be prepared with some rags. You want to avoid unnecessary spillage all over the place. I mean, if you can avoid it, why not just avoid it, right? Only makes sense. Okay. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned before, but with that tensioner pulley, it does require a little bit of effort. So you're not breaking anything, but you will have to forcefully push hard on top of it. Alright, get it all the way out. And we will set them to the side. And then pull that off and set that to the side. Just doing a little inspecting. And setting it off a little bit. Definitely some crud going on up in there. That's why we can wear gloves. Set that off there. Alright. And I'll probably be changing out this hose. Okay. So I apologize if I cut off before. My SD card ran out. Had to get a new one. But what I was saying before was just probably going to be replacing this line soon also. See what happens. It is an 07. But I do have the ability, thankfully, to do what I need to do and keep this car running as long as possible. So we're going to take this piece off now that we took the bolts off. And then we're going to get ready to set it to the side. As you saw, definitely had some fluid coming out, which is why, like I said, make sure that you definitely put some rags down. Alright, let's just clean this up here, just so that even though we're replacing this pump, I'm not really worried about being uber clean, but we don't want shit all over the place. Our O-ring right there. Looks a tad flat, so probably wind up getting the OEM from Honda. All these parts I usually use are OEM, just because. And I'll get that part and I'll come in, I'll just change that real quick, but all the other O-rings obviously are all on there because we have the new pump. Alright, so now what we have to do is, there are a couple bolts down below. There's one in here. At least I put some light on it. There we go. There's one right there. And then there's going to be one right here. That's what's holding this on. So once we get those off, this should just kind of come right off. Okay. Alright, so as I'm doing this, I am switching out between a long, or trying to, and a short, just to see what kind of works better, what I can get in tightest, closest with. The fact that these have been on here for a while, it does take a little effort to crack them loose. Sorry for the ringing. Hey, it is almost Christmas. See if we can just loosen these by hand now. We can. Let's fill this in right here. I see some fluid leaking out. Just so that, once again, we have no issues. Okay. Whatever you do, be careful. These are long bolts. Be careful. Don't lose these into the engine bay. Good luck getting them. So just take your time. There we go. There's one. Alrighty. Place her down right there. Now let's get the other one down up in here. sit there for a second. As you can see, a little bit of pain in the ass. You gotta wiggle around a little bit. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle a little bit. All right. Oh, and then this plug right here, just to make life easier, should just pop right off. There we go. Help us out a little bit. There we go. All right. So this is our old guy here. All right. Now what we're gonna do, replace with our new guy. Make sure everything is good, everything looks good. Yeah, everything's looking okay. Not bad. Just trying to look for if I see any leakage anywhere, anything serious. Not too much, not too much. A little corrosion going on here, but that's okay. All right, so let's get our new pump on. So I actually bought a new belt. A new pulley as well. So that's why we need our ratchet wrench. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the bolt from the old pulley. So as you can see, these are the parts. These are the part numbers. There we go. Part number was on here somewhere. There we go. Right there. All right. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we need to take this bolt off here, and it should be, what we got, 14? I don't even know what we got there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right, so what we're using here is a 1/2 inch, 3/4. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this bolt off here. Look how shiny that is, nice and wonderful. Okay. So that's on. Let's take our pump out of the packaging. So one thing I forgot to mention is if you want, you can attempt to put this bulb, this plastic bulb cover on the old one to stop leakage and things like that, but it is what it is. So, okay. Looking good there. Everything's looking good. All right, Let's put our new one on. Just confirm our placement. Okay. Okay, she's on. She spins. All right, we're good to go. All right, look how shiny and nice that is compared to everything else. All right, so slide her in there. Now we're basically going to reverse everything that we did. So let's take our bolts. Now one thing that we can do is attempt to have that belt on to make it easier. So take this back out a second. Tensioner pulley does look a little so probably replace that soon. Get that replaced. Okay, just make sure everything is lined up and good to go. Okay. Okay, so everything is lined up, ready to go. Let's put our bolts on. Might as well keep this on, just in case. Alright guys, so it took me a minute to get this back on and get those bolts on that we needed down there, those 12 millimeters. If you got big hands or thick hands or your little chubs, it's a little difficult, but you can get it done, no problem. So what we need to do is now just tighten up. Okay. Just tighten everything up as best you can. Nice and snug. I tell you, it sounds like the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future are coming in with this here. There we go. Okay, that's pretty secured. Okay, she's on pretty well. So now let's worry about this belt. Get this belt back on. Okay, so definitely putting it on ahead of time. Definitely helped. Because now all we have to do is we have to route this one around that one there with a little bit of leverage. So let's get our tool on there. Loosen her up. Okay, guys. Now that we have our belt back on, everything is back on. We're gonna now keep continuing to reverse our steps. So now we're gonna put this back on. Make sure she's cleaned off. Okay. Get our 10mm bolts. Down. So like I said earlier, I'm probably going to buy the O-ring to replace here since we replaced everything else. Just take about a week to come in. I don't feel like going to the dealership. Now one other thing is what you want to do is, since we introduced air into this entire system, you want to only get Honda fluid. Steering power steering fluid. Just go to the Acura or Honda dealership and go grab that. That way you're going to top off your reservoir, and then when you're inside the vehicle, once everything is back together, run the vehicle and then steering wheel left to right, hold it a few seconds, come back. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure that there's no bubbles that are forming in there. And eventually, within a few minutes, that if that squealing was there, and that's the whole reason you're doing that, that should go away fairly quickly. Bolts. Okay. Nice and tight. Okay. Now we're going to put our hose back on. Okay. Now we're going to crimp the hose back into place. Okay, and that is about it. Like I said, Honda power steering fluid. Gonna start the vehicle, do the turn the steering wheel left to right, hold it on each side a couple of times, check your reservoir, make sure there's no bubbles, and then once again that noise should go away a few minutes after changing everything out. So as always, when things break, we're gonna fix new shit. All right, guys, take care.